Well, hello there, everybody. Welcome to the Meat Hall, and as is kind of become tradition for a while now, this is the one night where I am not in charge. Who wants to do the intro? Is it going to be Duncan or Hippie?
Do we still have the GM pick of Duncan?
We do.
I think I'm technically still GM, so hello, I have seized power in a bloodless coup, and we will be running the part 2 of the recreated Foundry mission, Gemini, which was my first, and so for my first DM session, I thought, hey, let's try to give this another go, and remix it a little bit. So tonight we'll be taking another adventure on the Starship Reliant. Last week, we had an initial exploration of the planet Iffar and the inhabitants of said planet. We attended a diplomatic conference, and the captain got shot. Also, Kara got drugged, and half the away team was captured. We may cover that in more detail, but tonight I shall be running through the crew that is joined with us this evening. So we have First Officer Lennis Kendra.
She's muted.
Greeting.
We have Dr. Eli O'Connor.
That's me.
Kara June Runny.
Hey, ho, ho.
Starfar Theta playing Oakley, for whom I will say beep. We also have Rick Tier.
Greetings, everyone.
We have that guy, Hippie John.
Hey guys, I'll pop in with what your NPCs might do in these terrible times that they find themselves.
Oh no! You
And
they're not NPCs. You're down here with us now. You're one of us.
You're a player character. You're a PC at this point. You've been upgraded to player character for this one. And we also have that man who is hosting us, Waitley, who will be playing Grimnir tonight.
Greetings, salutations, hello everyone. You know me. If you don't, you're welcome.
And with the basics taken care of, we can get started with the intro video. Make noises!
You can tell this isn't the player character's ship because we're not just like annihilating everything in sight.
Including civilian transports.
You know, I was curious how long it would take for people to start talking. It didn't take long.
I planned to do it immediately. I wasn't going to wait.
I was watching it. I started as soon as... Oh yeah, we got the Mystery Science Theater.
The fact that you have a little cutout at the bottom just makes it all the more tempting.
Yes, ever since you added that, I like want to point at the screen and be like, "Ooh, that's the Reliant, guys."
I bet
that's
like
that starship I done seen on the TV programs.
I'd make it go.
Oh, he's tickling Waitley.
That's me. That's my name.
That's me!
The man with the kids.
We'll have to see if Drogan wants to make the Steve Me Too intro for us.
I'm sure. Yeah, I mean that's going to be an easy ask. I mean, just because he likes this creative stuff.
I want him to make like a fake intro that at some point Nord just slips in and it's just pictures of the Reliant exploding over and over again.
We'll have to get Admiral Aaron to do that one.
Oh goodness. Yeah, the Reliant is a pretty ship.
So what is the scene we are opening up on?
So we are going to be opening up with the conference reception room. Oh, I should probably open up that folder.
I guess we'll...
tell you.
I guess it'll be the bridge.
Not the bridge.
Oh god, we left Waitley in charge. I forgot.
Hey,
I mean,
Augie!
you could just stall with like Waitley having just a moment to himself.
Oh yeah,
So
this looks like the mess we had before.
Let's see. Yeah, so this is good. So, who's not there? So Rick isn't there.
No,
Eli's
isn't
not
there because I will never put my dog in danger.
Yeah, so it's Larissa, Kara, Kendra, Graves for a moment. Is Oakley there? I can't remember. Sure, Oakley's there.
Oakley's like serving drinks. It's like that, it's like the scene on Jabba's sail barge. Oakley's
Don't
making
even
some extra
ask.
scratch for the crew.
Like, he was just on, like, shore leave, but all of a sudden, like, we just see him just at the reception, like, okay, there's a story there, but first things first. So, as we're getting set up, so, again, as a recap of what happened last week, the species Ibi, the species of Kara Jun Rani and Setsa Chigoro, invited a bunch of different dignitaries, including the crew of the Reliant, to a grand reception to ultimately discuss the fate of their interplanetary alliances, whether they'll form them and with whom. So it's an opening in these negotiations. So you're in a grand reception room. Around you have holo displays of different potential star maps representing different potential options as a way of basically setting the stage in conversation. However, before the main event could begin, a man by the name of Ilium, who identified himself as a conclave of the Ikven, a basically medical sect of the Ibi people, basically declared that there is a new order about to get started, and that everyone would simply need to observe. However, in making this message, he has also taken a pot shot at Captain Marcus Graves, who, thanks to some quick intervention by Eli O'Connor and his shoulder missiles, only got shot in the shoulder. So the room is in absolute chaos. This Ilium figure has beamed out along with many members of your away team, and only your away team. There is security officers swarming around the major diplomatic officials. Graves is still on the ground. And that is where we are opening up.
Larissa would tap her comm badge and she would say, and Lieutenant Larissa, to the Reliant emergency medical beam out, the captain's been shot.
Waitley, that call would go to you.
Waitley comes across the comm, his usual, dull and monotone voice, and says, "Acknowledged. Transporter room standing by."
And with that, the transporter room is going to relay a message back up to the bridge that the Ibi government is currently reviewing their request for transport.
Waitley tells whoever, probably the chief, to put them up, get them on screen now.
The person you get is a minor diplomatic functionary dressed in a somewhat orange suit with a few metal epaulets attached to the shoulders and some stuff around the collar as well. They look very flustered, and they're passing a few data pads across their table. And the officer just quickly looks up and is like, "What? State your business."
Chief, replay the transmission we just got from the planet's surface. Make sure they can hear it.
So that message is replayed for the officer. They get boggle-eyed, look at the designation of the ship that is sending the comm, and says, "Of course, we'll approve your transport right away."
Thank you. Reliant out.
Was it the comm? So Graves at that point is beamed off the ship. He is looking very flustered, worried, and just looking around, trying to see what's happening, and also holding his shoulder, of course, because he has just been shot. So that leaves the rest of you in
Larissa,
this.
right before he beams out, Larissa would look at him, look up at Kendra, and say, "We got this, sir."
And he just sort of nods and goes, he's about to say "I," but is beamed out at that moment. So he is transported to the ship, at which point medical teams will proceed with him. But you are left in this riotous scene. So would any of you like to try to take the initiative at this point?
Larissa, once the captain is out of there, Larissa stands up with her sidearm and looks to Kendra. Plain and simple, looks to Kendra. We're the only two Starfleet officers standing there right now.
Kind of dazed. Is my mic working?
Yeah, you're good now.
Okay. Kendra looks kind of dazed and panicked and is looking about with a panicked expression.
So let's see. So at this point, you're approached
Is Grimnir there too?
Grimnir is there. If Grimnir would like to do something at this point, he can try to do something. There's that initial, it's kind of that initial panic sort of response. So a lot of people are now filing out of the diplomatic room, but you still see that the Hyabi officials and the security officers are still there, as well as some of the more important figures in the sort of the political situation. So the Gorn representative is there, Klingon, Orion, and Breen, let's say.
All right, so just a refresher, who all is there? I know you said Kendra is there, Larissa is there.
Right now, so from your crew right now.
As I'm looking around the room, what am I seeing? I just need some catching up. I'm sorry, I missed something in the middle there. I know the captain got beamed up and he was shot. Okay, but I don't know what's going on in the room.
I just had explained that. So in the room, it is the crowd is panicking out. So the lower diplomatic officials, the political figures from Iffar are being moved out, except for the high government officials who are there under security guard. So you have several officers stationed around them. They're basically overseeing, okay, what's the situation right? You haven't moved out of that room. But you also have several other factions that haven't moved out. So the ones that are a little bit more forward. So the Gorns, Klingons, Orions, and Breen, their diplomatic officers are also still there too. So you have the high Ivi officials, security people, and then
how the captain
other
shot. It was
diplomats.
The suit, right?
Oh no! Okay, so what had happened is that this
that's the part I'm missing.
Villain. Okay, so the figure known as Ilium came, beamed in, and then basically pointed a disruptor at Graves. Eli tried to respond with his suit, and only succeeded in basically causing enough chaos that the shot didn't land true. So it only hit Graves' arm. So the suit accidentally came into play, just not the suit did not shoot Graves. So Eli's good there.
Still there.
What?
Did Ilium beam away, or is he still in front of us?
Yes.
He beamed away.
Ilium has left. Yeah, after his monologue, he beamed away.
Okay, so we're dealing with the aftermath right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I'm sorry, guys. I'm really sorry.
Oh, no worries. I was kind of
me too.
Yeah, I was kind of AFK at the end of the last session, so that's what I was trying to recap on.
Too. I missed the end of last episode.
Larissa, Grimnir, and Kendra are the ones that are currently there.
Okay, so
yes.
Kara, Eli, Oakley, and Quentin are not.
Yes.
Kara will be when she wakes up.
Yes. Kara will soon be there, but we need to go through that separately.
So let's spread out and check the area just to make sure that there aren't any more hostiles here, and also look for anybody else who's wounded.
All right, Grimnir.
All right, you begin.
Oh, go ahead. I was just going to say, Grimnir feels partially responsible for this because of his outburst the night before, so he's just kind of quietly following Kendra and doing whatever she says.
So,
Larissa would move away following Kendra's order to look for anyone else that looks hostile, and if there are any other wounded people.
All right, so let's go ahead and make a roll for that. Insight security.
Security. Now I have to remember how to roll.
Exclamation point 2d20 followed by your target number.
Do I need to roll too?
Yes, if you want to.
What is
go ahead and bring up
perception? The perception roll.
Insight, security.
Yeah, I said. Yeah, that's what.
Yeah.
Where is our cheat sheet?
Ooh, I got one success.
Okay, so and then for Kendra, you
Find my target
roll
number.
That's what I'm finding right now. Your
Insight
target number is 14. 14. Woo! Well, you have plenty of successes. So what you're able to identify there is that there aren't any more hostile actors, and there are no signs of any suspicious equipment in the room. So you appear to be safe from immediate hostile attack. But with so many successes, I'll also tell you that the chief administrator for the IBI, their highest official, is watching Elenis right now.
Okay. Once I see that there are no wounded people and there are no suspicious things and people, I look at the nearest security officer and I say, "Who's in command here?" Looking at
one
the
of
other
the nearby
officers, like who's your chief? Kind of thing.
One of the security officers just points a thumb over at the chief administrator and says, "Administrator Jagoro's the chief of chiefs."
Administrator, we need to know whether that transport beam that he escaped in was planetary or if he went to a ship.
Sorry, I was just flipping between voices there. The chief administrator sort of takes a few steps towards you and just with a confidence and grace, but also at the same time a little bit of unease.
Okay. But my sidearm is not out anymore. It's holstered.
Oh, the unease is just the fact that, well, I mean, someone just declared that a new order is coming for Iffar, so...
Oh, right, yeah.
That is most understandable. Officer, we shall involve Starfleet in our investigation of this matter. We shall give you we shall give you access to our sensor records, and if you can provide us assistance in tracking down this individual, as well as your missing crew members, we will be sure to cooperate fully with you.
I very relieved anyway. Like, it's not that Larissa was like thinking they weren't going to cooperate, but like just hearing it out loud probably makes her relieved. And she looks at Kendra and says, "Commander, if they stayed planet side, we can track them. But if they went to a ship," she just shakes her head.
Seeing Iffar restricts transporter activity, I'm kind of surprised that he was able to transport without being tracked.
As am I, and I think the chances are good that he was tracked. But we may have to pursue other leads, considering that the methods in which a transporter beam might be obscured could take some time to perfect. As this is my city, and I know its people, and had suspicions about what might happen here, Not in any particular detail, but just the fact that, well, you gather a bunch of people together and that graves, that something might happen. So my people will begin investigating the transport signatures. If your ship would like to cooperate as well, we would fully appreciate that. I will give you an additional lead, though, that you may pursue, and in a way that my security people might not. There's a man called Banks, a Ferengi, runs a deli just outside the Administrative Cabinet, or Administrative Center. He's been involved with things. And while I don't have any definite proof, if something has happened beneath my nose and involves interstellar politics, or even just local, he may know. If you would like to facilitate the investigation, maybe give this Banks a visit.
Very good.
And at that point, I'll type it out in chat. There we go. At that point, Kara, you wake up.
Kara looks around, raises up an arm, and immediately starts to put 2 and 2 together. She checks for her comm badge, which is missing. She manages not to scream an expletive, but she immediately leaps up off the table and immediately tears the sleeves off of her kimono, and also tears away a portion of the fabric around her legs. From that, she quickly fashions a crude garrote and starts heading for the exit of the area she's in, being on the lookout for anyone who might try to stop her currently.
So the room you're in, this cathedral-like medical center, is completely empty. As you exit, you start to hear the sounds of commotion. A lot of people, also the sounds of movement, voices, movement as well. As you near the main foyer of the building, you see lots of people. Most of them are heading towards the exit, and they're moving away from the main chamber.
Kara, being the kind of person she is, heads towards the trouble and not away from it. She, noting the lack of any particular danger, wraps the garrote around one hand rather than keeping it ready between the two of them.
All right, so you enter the room, the sort of the main foyer, as the others have been given their direction to find this Ferengi named Banks, who runs a deli. Also, Kendra, you know that that Cass has been abducted because you saw him get transported out.
Okay, very good. And I would about now be looking for Kara, correct?
Yeah.
Kara is... I'm going to ask something here because I'm not sure about it. Which would probably be the quicker way for Kara to get her hands on a phaser pistol? To flag down one of the Ivy guards and demand his sidearm, or to contact the ship and get her own pistol beamed down to her?
Reliant when you get the opportunity, just because the Ivy guards will not give you it will not just randomly hand someone a sidearm.
Yeah, but can you imagine Kara marching up to somebody with a phaser rifle going, You've got a pistol too, don't you? You don't need it. Give it here.
An awesome role to me.
After someone just got shot, like in the...
Yeah, I don't think it would actually work, but you have to admit that is the sort of thing that Kara might try. But we're going to say that her leadership training and her command training kicks in, and she immediately heads over to Larissa and immediately says...
hands you a sidearm.
Yeah.
Who hands you a phaser pistol. She probably has, an extra one on the back of her belt underneath her dress uniform, which Larissa now, we all know what the dress uniform looks like in STO, right? So she unsnaps it and lets it fall open. So she's got that whole Kirk thing going on, Kirk from Wrath of Khan, where it's fallen open. Her shirt underneath is red.
Yeah.
Kara takes the pistol and nods and immediately cranks it up to maximum power. She looks over at Larissa. I still would have preferred my own pistol, but this will do.
Jinrani, you look Madder than usual.
I am going to find Ilium Sokovig, and I am going to feed him his own entrails.
Seems like you met the same person who just kidnapped the rest of our team. That's what
Correction,
I'm really
I am
worried
going to
about,
feed him
Commander.
his subordinates' entrails, and then his own. What did I miss?
And I look at like Kendra
What
and
did
say,
I miss?
I'm more worried about our crew, Commander.
Indeed.
Kara looks up at,
So-
Lennis Kendra, and she just has a fury that you've never seen smoldering in her eyes. I just had someone promise me my greatest dream, only to trick me, and then afterward I hear that my friends have been captured. I have someone to kill.
Revenge can be a powerful motivator, but just be careful that it doesn't blind you. That's all.
I almost want Larissa to quote Clint Eastwood in Unforgiven. It's a hell of a thing, killing a man.
If she says
you
that,
could.
Grimnir just looks at her, nods very, very seriously, but doesn't say anything.
Yeah, I kind of have to go back
So
to
yeah, she definitely says that.
Yeah, Kara's
Alright.
Kara's internal thing it basically goes back to a character named Hancock from Fallout 4, where it's like, help the people that need to be helped, and hurt the people that need to be hurt.
I like that.
So I'm gonna before you get started on your investigation, I'm gonna need everyone to make a roll.
A what roll?
Insight security. So same target as last time, and then for Kara, your target number is 14.
14.
And then I don't know if we have a sheet for Grimnir.
No, we
We'll
never
see
got
if-
around to making
well.
one.
Okay.
Woot!
Everybody
We
is
rock.
very open up today.
Okay. Yeah.
Three
Okay.
successes, 2 successes, 2 successes. That was a really good roll. Everybody listening in the in the stream chat there.
Yeah. We should.
Ooh.
We might want to type these out, but this isn't going to be super important because
That gives us
what
momentum,
you hear at this
doesn't it?
point is. Oh yeah. I guess. Okay. Yeah. Give you guys some momentum. You can have 1 momentum.
Woot! I like it.
What you hear is, meh. And it's coming right from basically below you.
Grimnir lights
goodness.
up. He says, "The sheep!" And he immediately starts looking around. "Come, my friend, where are you?"
He is the
What's
sheep
happening?
is the sheep.
Roll
Who-
her eyes.
So, because no one looked around last episode, there's been a sheep following you this entire freaking time.
That's
Kara
awesome.
So,
stares up at the sky.
it-
The universe is mocking me.
so the sheep is it's been following Grimnir. And it is still following Grimnir. It is being a very loyal and very good sheep. So at this point, you guys exchange information and get that lead from the administrator that there's a suspicious character, a Ferengi, that Kara knows because you went to the deli before you got here, named Banks. And he may have information.
Kendra mutters under her breath, so the smell wasn't coming from where I thought it was after all.
What is happening
And
to our abductees? I want to see that part.
because we are going to shift right there, because you are leaving the chamber, and we cut now to the abductees. So, Bryce, you are the first to awaken. What you hear is just a low hum. You open your eyes, and directly above you, actually, this isn't sick bay. Let's see.
I
don't
don't
know
have
if our
another
adventure-
scene set up. It'll take me a second to get that. I'm just gonna get the people
let's
there
see.
real quick.
I'm just rolling through. Let's see, because I should have provided this one. So critical backgrounds. Go with lab for the background. So you open your eyes, and there's a low hum. Above you, you see what appears to be just a series of just black metal panels that have been ranged into a relatively small, but still spacious enough to hold several people, box. If you would turn your head to the right as you're laying down, you would notice that there is what appears to be grates at one side of the box. And in front of, running along that, and along each of the walls, is a small blue shimmer. So you wake up to what appears to be a holding cell. And
do I see anyone else in any of the you said bunks, right?
No, it's just that you're in a box.
Okay.
It is a cubicle holding cell where you, Eli, Quentin, and Ricktier are laying down. Setsujigoro is missing. Is not with you.
I'm going to sit up and start shaking a couple of people right next to me and say, "Head up, we've been captured."
Eli and Rick will wake up at this. Quentin is completely out of it.
Captured? What?
Eli?
So what do we remember? Sorry. We remember everything up to the transport and seeing everyone else transport?
So you got transported, and then the moment that beam ended, there was a flash, and that's the last thing you remember. So now you're waking up in a holding cell. In a dark room, you can still see, though. There's still enough illumination to see everything about your environment. The floor itself is hard, it's metal. It feels a little like it's been assembled from other pieces, but it is very it's not like it's just completely cobbled together. Eli, your cape is not with your jacket. Your jacket is not with you, but you have every other piece of clothing on your persons.
So we don't have. Do we have tricorders or anything?
No, you do not have tricorders. No, or any weapons.
What about any engineering stuff? No.
Any small devices that would have been on your person have been confiscated. They have checked your pockets.
How rude. This does not bode well.
So,
I, as Bryce, start looking for. It's just a box. There's no indication of a door of any kind.
Well, there's basically the box at one side has what appears to be bars and a makeshift door held together by a very sturdy-looking lock. So there is that, but it is behind a force field.
Okay.
So Eli, again, you have noted that your suit jacket and cape have been taken, but nothing else in the suit that Garrick made for you has been removed. So you could take some initiative here to try to maybe take a look around, or you could try to, maybe look to see if there's any small things around you, or just anything that looks amiss.
Let's do that. Anything that's small or looks amiss.
Okay, so this would require another inside security.
We're screwed then.
Okay, so for Ricktier, that would be 11. For Eli,
it's 10.
10. And then Bryce, let's say, well, you're a security officer.
Looking for different things.
Okay, so you're looking for different things. Okay.
I'll wait until they're done to tell you what Bryce is trying to figure out in his computer mind.
Okay.
20. Complication.
Oh, no.
So you don't see anything at all from that investigation. It looks at like a very simple setup where you have a simple force field. It looks low power. It's nothing like it's like buzzing with tremendous energy. And then you've got this door. So, I mean, there is a simple problem here of simply getting rid of one and opening the other. So would Bryce like to look for anything?
Bryce is specifically trying to figure out what the wall is made of.
All right.
If it's a metal, what kind of metal? And is that metal within the rated ability to punch through for me? Yes, exactly, Kara. Bryce is about to go all Bryce smash on the wall if it's something.
So the walls are covered by that same force field, but the floor is not.
Perfect. Does the floor look like a metal or a type of material that I would be, considering that he's, an android? He might be able to punch through that. I mean, we saw someone in Picard do it.
Okay, so let's see. What would be your role then? So it would we could say like it's what reason engineering, but your target number, let's just say, is 12.
If you're punching something, then it could be fitness.
I think.
Well, he isn't punching it yet. Yeah, it's figuring out whether he can do
it. And punch through it.
Okay, yeah. Reasoning engineering. Okay. Rick would also like to do something after this.
One complication. I probably think I can punch through it and can't.
It looks like, the sheet metal looks like it's hull plating. So it would probably do more damage to your arm than you would do to it.
I have a question.
Yep.
Does anybody have their comm badge?
No.
Damn.
That's an easy one to take from a Starfleet officer.
Yeah. I look at Eli and Rick and I say, I can't punch through this.
I want to see if I can have any idea of particular, like, force field emitters or something. If I can.
So, would that be inside engineering?
Or
reason engineering?
Could be either.
Let's go reason. Reason. You're better off with reason. Your target number is 16.
Yeah. 16. There we go. 2 successes.
So what you're able to make out is basically like each join of the wall at that sort of intersection. It's actually, if you sort of like poke your finger in the corner, it's actually the corner of the wall is actually made up of those like lines of force field emitters. So they're technically in the cell with you.
We just need to find a way to short them out.
And Eli?
I want to check my suit to see if there's, or what's left of my suit that they left me. If there's any more Garrick things I could use.
So this would require a roll, because you don't necessarily know what Garrick has put in here, and he wouldn't necessarily tell you. Because that's Garrick. So Eli, I want you to do you're feeling about yourself. I'm just trying to like gingerly just sort of like, okay, what do I have around me? So I will make that a control. Doesn't work either way. Control engineering, target number is 12.
Control engineering 12. Okay.
Yeah, you're just trying to feel around you without activating anything. If you have anything special still on your person.
Oh.
And 2 successes. So what you find is that your belt, there are sort of like these little nodules. And each one of those little nodules may have a small device on them. You may need to roll again to see what kind of device they are, but they are very small and don't look particularly like an electronic device, let's just say. Your belt buckle itself, you can unwind several good feet before you tuck it back in, but of a very firm metal wire. It's not strong. It's not going to cut your skin. It's just a very strong wire that is wrapped into your belt. You also notice that your shoes have a small slot.
My shoes were my own.
Oh, they were your own? I thought they were Garrett too.
I told you
your
those
shoes don't have anything
from
then.
his dad.
So you have
okay. They're from his dad, and they do have the thing. We talked about that.
Oh, okay. I thought it was Garrick and they had the thing. Okay. So your shoes have the thing. So you have small little canisters on your belt, on sort of the inside, and you've got wire coming out of your belt. And let's see, anything else? No, you've just got your chute and your pants. So those still might have some surprises, but you don't feel that there's like anything that's sort of like included in additionally like with the fabric.
Hey, Rick Tier.
What do you have there?
Belt by Garrick.
This is highly unusual.
Would you like to help me inspect this? Because I have no idea what these things are. It didn't come with a user manual.
Rick, it would be a reason engineering, again, to figure out what the small canisters are. The wire is pretty straightforward. It's just a very strong wire.
Okay, 1 success.
They are small photon grenades. Their explosive power is basically, if it went off on you, it would hurt, but it actually wouldn't like damage you. But they would be enough to say shift some things to like cause a little like. Actually, no. If they went off on you, okay. So let's put it this way: if they went off on you, they wouldn't kill you, but they may still be useful as a small explosive device.
So
also several of them.
So, would it be theoretically possible to use them as a charge to, say, redirect the emitters?
Or completely knock out the emitters because they're pretty small and fragile.
Okay.
Depending on how you.
But it is theoretically possible.
It is theoretically possible, yes. So, based on what you saw previously, what you make of these small little canisters, they're small, but they are. Yeah. And then, let's see. So you've got like emitters covering the walls or the door. Which do you try to take out? Because you have 4, so you could basically place them at each corner and try to take out the emitters that way. So, but you would have to kind of make a choice for which ones you're going to take out with sort of like the little shape charts they've got.
I think the door seems most obvious.
Yeah, I say we do the door.
Okay. So you are going to be setting up and then detonating these small explosive devices. Because they are just put it on and detonate, you go ahead and do that. There are small little explosions, and it is freaking loud considering that you're in a small box.
Okay, once it's very loud, I imagine that it's going to be loud outside of our box too. So I'm sure we stood back. I'm going to prep for a fight. I don't imagine we're getting out of here without one. It's security thinking.
Okay. The bombs go off. The forward emitter fades.
Sorry. How many did we end up using?
So you had 4. So you're out of small explosives.
Oh.
You still have the wire and anything else that any other person in that room might have on or in them. The explosive charges go off, the emitter fades in front of you, and then nothing happens. As in, there's no sense of like disturbance in sort of the forward room. You can actually hear more of the hum now that one of the force fields has been taken out, and sort of you feel a little bit of a rush of air across those bars. But there is no sign of disturbance.
So the force field still looks like it's up?
No, the force field is down. You have successfully disabled that part. But
okay,
you are
so
not... What you don't get is that security response.
The only thing left is the door with the lock on it then, right?
Yes. It looks like it's been improvised as a lock goes. There is sort of you can probably...
Tear it off.
Oh, let's say...
Might not be able to punch through the floor, but I might be able to crush and tear off a lock.
Yeah. So, well, it's sort of like you've got the sort of the metal bars coming down in sort of like a big, kind of think of it like almost like cast iron. But you can try to sort of rip it apart. You can't like just like, it's not like something like a little like something you would put on a shed to keep it locked. It's sort of like, it's like firmly in mind to keep prisoners in there, but you could still try to rip it apart.
In my understanding, Bryce probably doesn't think Iffar is all up to date on Soong type Maddox series androids and our capabilities. So I suspect their lock may not be adequate, and I try to rip it. As soon as the force fields go down and there's no security response, I move forward and try to rip the lock off. Tear it apart.
Nothing happens. You cannot rip apart this lock.
Damn it. And Bryce curses and actually uses a contraction, and he says, damn it. Or maybe, I don't know.
So, Eli, did you have anything?
So,
Eli?
This is just like a lock, not like an electronic lock, like a keyhole and all that?
No.
Okay.
It looks physical.
It looks physical.
So it's basically like there's probably at a certain point where you have like two pieces of like really strong metal that are just holding this thing together. And sort of a crease where the door would obviously just open once you would remove that obstruction.
Can I look around the room again for something? What? We're out of the cage
okay,
now.
Yeah. Well, you're still inside the cage.
Well, we have more, like, a couple feet of, like, I don't know.
Like, there's literally nothing in your box besides where, like, you and then Quentin, but he's knocked out.
Okay. We'll use Quentin as a battering
ram. Remember, you have your shoes.
I also have that wire.
And the shoes.
I think there's heavy DM prodding you, Eli.
Yeah, I want to save those for later, though.
Well, like, you've got two, and it won't necessarily break it.
Okay. I'm gonna figure out what's up with my shoes, because I don't know in character.
You're prodding around your shoes. And once you hit a certain sort of series of pressure points, a small blade pops out of those shoes. And within a few seconds, it is glowing bright green.
Dad, what the fuck?
You may recognize this as a nanopulse blade.
Why did my dad
And your shoes would appear to have one each.
What did my dad get me into? I'm gonna try try kicking the door with my knife shoe. Just to see how it goes.
Okay, so Kara, let's say Kara, Kendra, you do have time, because I do have one scene I want to do after this that's more of a monologue. But you trying to use, now what did you say? How did you intend to attack this lock with the shoe?
This is still on my
Eli.
foot, by the way. I'm just like bending my leg upwards to like angle it and try to slip it into the crack of the door and just like see if it slices.
Okay, because it's still on your freaking foot. This is going to require a control security roll. So you've got 12.
Oh no.
Yeah, Rick would say to Bryce as he sees Eli doing this, it would be so much easier for him to use it as on his hands, even.
I'm not using it on my hands. I'm keeping my shoes on. I'm not going die hard in this. Oh shit!
So with 2 successes, you very expertly kick the lock apart with the shoe. You slide the nanopulse blade. It's like a warm knife through butter, and just goes completely through it. Lock opens, doors just spring open.
Real quick, just for maximum Austin Powers thing, did Eli say judo kick while he was doing it?
Oh goodness. Bryce looks at Eli when the lock comes falling off and says, "Are you sure you're just a doctor?"
These shoes were a gift from my dad, so he might be more than just a doctor, but no.
Bryce laughs and like walks. I mean, we've got to get out of here. Someone's going to have to carry Quentin. And he does so. He picks Quentin up and Fireman's carries him.
Yep. So you're sort of out there. It looks like you're in a small room. There are a few computer terminals, and it's sort of like it's a space that wasn't like it's not designed as a brick or anything in particular. It looks like a small like analysis room for just scientific research, but not anything of like the Machiavelli, like the grand kind. It's just like you're in an academic's lab, and there is an open door.
I want to access the computer systems and download whatever information I can.
Nods.
All right.
The door. Still carrying Quentin.
Oh. Okay, so what was that again?
Bryce nods at Rick when he moves to the terminals and watches the door still carrying Quentin.
So the computer terminal it sort of sputters into life, but not necessarily because it's like, out of power. It looks just old. And the operating system kicks in, and it's an IBI. So where would a universal translator be? Like, in terms of an actual device, I'm kind of taking a sort of outer DM moment. Is that infused in your body?
Well, the audio ones are, aren't they?
Yeah, so
if
it's
nothing
like,
else. I think Bryce would be able to translate it.
Yeah. So let's put it that way. It's in IBI. It's in the sort of common IBI or the general IBI language. So Rick would not be able to read it, but Bryce would be able to.
Okay, Bryce, you have a universal translator in your systems, right?
Yeah.
I'll need your help.
I'll set Quentin down and move over to assist Rick in whatever he needs.
Unfortunately, as it is, I do not read IBI.
I wouldn't normally either, but considering where we were going, I try to read it and see what it says.
So let's see. So what you have is effectively a start menu. And what reads is effectively looks like an incantation that simply reads, "Tomorrow is ours because they watch out for us." Is sort of is as close as you can come to it, like a verbal, a full translation of it.
Say the closest translation is "Tomorrow is ours. They watch out for us because they watch out for us." Thinking this is some kind of an offshoot of rebels or something, that perhaps that's a creed.
So you have that as the display screen, but you still have the option to sort of like input program or don't make it or access directory.
With access,
We want to access the directory. Yeah, I'll let Rick lead and tell him what it is and do what he thinks we should.
So what you have there in the access directory is what appears just to be a really, really long list of dated status report files for minor agricultural and agricultural reports, just by those names, like just some type of what looks like a date code followed by Ishiaki Farm, some kind of date code, Tenura Reserve, and it just goes on and on and on like that.
I want to look up some recent dates while we're there of the Gemanis.
So, the date is not, you don't recognize the dating system. It's a bunch of numbers. So you would not be able to tell how recent it is, but in working with this computer, it's old. And it's just encrusted with dust. So you may not expect to find any recent files there.
Okay. Well, I'll just go with whatever has the biggest numbers.
So you get that last report, and you're just looking at the report, and it's a ministerial summary of labor output for the Otakon region. And it reads in sort of this almost flowing script. The fields remain poor. The people remain restless. Talk is stirring. And the council is at an impasse. Your wisdom is needed. But if it is your time to sleep as well, then do so, Setsa. And then that's the end of that's the end of that file.
Sounds like a letter.
And
so the computer terminal doesn't seem to have any other information in it. It is just a repository. If you had some custom IBI code that would run on this machine, you might be able to do something with that, but chances are you're probably not going to develop that coding language skill anytime soon.
Yeah. The query that interests me right now is who it's from. Our Setsa?
Or is it a common name?
This would be the message. The Setsa was to whom it was addressed.
Oh, well, it's still relevant.
Yeah.
Common name, or is it the girl we have with us? Or had with us?
So what you have in the remainder of the room is just maybe there's other terminals. They look far more in disrepair than this one, and the open door.
I don't think we're going to get much else from here.
I'll lift Quentin back up.
Who's first through the door?
Maybe Rick should carry Quentin out.
Yeah, I'll go through the door first.
Okay.
But, sorry?
I said I'm soon right behind you.
So, as you approach the door, your face lands directly into another force field, and it just flashes bright white, and you're knocked back a couple of paces. And on the other side of the force field, a old woman in a robe and just a kind of very cheerful disposition, like just someone you might see on like a farm or anywhere else, that is just sort of this pastoral existence. She walks around the corner, and let's see. No, you wouldn't. Let's see. Just as a recap from last episode, Rick or Eli, were you with Kara when she was approached about the offer?
We were there together when she was approached. I don't know.
Yeah, so you were there. Yeah. So you recognize this woman as the woman who approached Kara about something at the administrative complex. So you saw this Ibby on Iffar, and she just says,
"Oh, no. It is not yet time to gather together and experience the mysteries that come from the future. We will wait here a little longer. Well, Ilium, that poor boy, tries to make sense of the world he's created for himself."
And with that, we do a short scene shift to another room where you are at. It is a much larger room, and it's cavernous. There's no sense of top, or even just like barely appreciable, like how where the size to this room. And Setsa Jigoro is in a chair, sort of restrained by her feet and her hands, just tied behind. And it feels weird pulling her, looking up. And who she sees on a pile of crates, but illuminated by a few sort of makeshift lights, is this man, Ilium. And he says,
"Very good. Very good. I was afraid that the first part of this might take a little bit, but you are up. And we have a chance to get to know each other, or reacquaint, as it sets his head.
Where? You shot Graves!
I did, but these connections, these things that you have lived by, I have the misfortune to tell you that they are not all you are, or who you were meant to be. The mistakes were made, and we can now rectify them. To bring our people some peace and security that they've never known before."
Setsa is just looking around herself, just trying to find anything to do, and it's just saying,
This sounds completely insane.
Ilium says, "That it might be, but we'll see what the outcome brings. Because sanity comes from someone who thinks they know themselves. And I can say for certain right now that you do not know yourself right now." And
Setsa just has this moment of trying to remember, just responding to that almost reflexive. Thinking to her life, thinking to what she was trying to pull together from her time with the board. Glimpses of the collective con, glimpses of Starfleet, and even some scenes from her life back home. But there's something else, something feeling like it's standing behind her in her bed. And
William says, "We will not begin yet, but for right now, we will simply be together."
And we cut back to the away team on the planet. Just for simplicity, you have exchanged information. Kara's like, I know where this place is. Let's go. And you see the facade. So the facade is Banks's Deli. What was it? Fresh criminalized onions.
Gotta love those criminalized onions. So
criminalized onions? We're gonna have to arrest him.
That was the joke last week, that they were criminalized onions, and everybody's like, doesn't he mean caramelized?
That's awesome.
So it's Kara, Larissa, Grimnir, Kendra, and the sheep.
And Theta is saying that he and Nala are there too.
Nala's back at the farm. I didn't take her into the city so she doesn't get shot at.
But is Oakley there?
So Oakley is now at the deli as well. Oakley is now there as well. And let's just say words are exchanged. He's now fully on board with the directive as well.
Can I make a roll to see if there's anything suspicious about the sheep?
Sure. Let's go with a insight science. 14. The sheep is a normal sheep, but it looks like it's well trained. So it is behaving more like a. Well, it's a sheep from an alien planet. So it looks like it's kind of, you get the feeling it's more like behaving like a dog. It's kind of that like it has bonded with a member of the herd and it is following along with the herd.
I guess that is actually an important question. Are we talking about a sheep or a ram?
Let's say it's a sheep. We've been calling it a sheep. It's funnier just to scream sheep.
Okay, so it's a ewe.
Yep.
Okay, yeah.
Well, I mean,
so
sheep
you are
is
standing
the generic term, ram and ewe are the, yeah.
Yeah.
And
so you are standing in front, you were just standing.
I was just going to say real quick, ever since we found it, Grimnir has just been cradling the poor thing in his arms. He's just like loving it and cuddling it and cooing to it. He's like, who's a good sheep? You're a good sheep. Who's my friend?
Kara continues to whine and grumble about the universe mocking her.
Talk to
and
this
you are just standing in front of it. Yes, you are.
I'd say let's
probably going to need to. So you walk in, and it's just sort of like you're past the dinner rush, and especially with all the commotion, everyone's kind of left. There's not really anyone there except for maybe a couple of like regulars way in the back, and then there's a Ferengi sort of behind the main counter of the deli, and he greets you like, hello there. Welcome to Banks's Deli. The onions are criminalized, and so am I. Rehabilitated, of course. How can I help you?
Larissa plays silent cop and like watches what Kendra wants to know.
Did I come through?
We didn't hear anything.
I missed it.
We need some information now.
Information. Well, I can tell you where the best places are around here to eat, but one of them's going to be Banks's Deli.
Does it look like there's anything?
Kind of information.
Does it look like anything is breakable on his like counter, like a salt shaker or something?
Oh yeah, there's plenty. There's salt shakers. There's utensils.
Yeah, I knock off a salt shaker onto the floor so that it breaks. Like a
Kara at this point actually face palms slightly and mutters to herself, And I was letting everyone else do the talking because I was going to be violent.
Grimnir looks at the salt shaker, just kind of shakes his head, looks at Banks, leans forward, and, Grimnir, big, giant mountain of a man, menacing Grimnir, holding the sheep in his arms, says, "You better answer our questions, or the sheep is gonna get angry. And you didn't want the sheep to get angry."
Banks? Banks is intimidated by this because the sheep is an alien creature, and he is uncertain of its capabilities. So Banks, with a little bit of stuttering, is like, look, I've been good. Nothing's bad happened. But if you're wanting information, you're putting it that way, and you're not one of the goons from Draknok the Magician, there's only one person you probably are trying to find. And you know what? Have him. Hazra is in shed Z8 of... You know what? Just go down there, take a left, down this spiraling bit. Iffar is just this massive spirals, coils. Anyway.
You're walking in front of us. Close the shop.
I turn around to Ed. Is there anyone left in his little deli?
Let's say Abolian and Morn.
I look at the two of them and I say, "There's time for stories later. Get out."
And they leave. So Banks closes up the shop, just sort of sighing to himself.
Poor Morn.
And, muttering is just... those onions are just too damn good.
Kara, at this point, manages to recover her face from her palm and simply ask, "Okay, Hazra, interesting. Does the name Ilyam Sokovic mean anything to you?"
Nope, not at all.
Is he lying? I want to try to determine if he's lying.
Okay. What would that be for a roll?
Insight command.
Insight command.
So insight. For Larissa, well, your command officer.
The 13 and 2 successes.
He is telling the truth.
Huh.
So he the impression you get is basically he's not like the conspiracy guy. He feels like the dupe in a conspiracy.
Okay. They say, if you don't know who he is, what do you know about this coming rebellion? The future is coming, or whatever the
Larissa.
hell.
Kara looks over at Larissa and simply snaps her fingers. "I don't think this guy knows anything. But you know who I bet does? Hazra."
Grimnir nods, and he's aiming
That's
the
why
ship
he's going
at
in front of
Banks.
us, and we're going to Hazra.
Come on, Ferengi.
So
Kendra taps
the
her
Ferengi
combat.
just sort of. Okay.
Kendra taps her con badge. Waitley?
Waitley here. Status report.
Remember how I asked you to kind of keep a feeler on the planet?
Indeed. And by the way, Duncan, we never did get back to the scene on the ship, but as soon as everything happened, he would have put the ship on yellow alert and ordered massive scans, try to find the people, standard routine stuff.
And that wouldn't have worked.
Yep. So he addresses Kendra and says, I have had the crew searching. We have had no luck.
Are you picking anything up from any of our missing crewmates?
Nothing.
You are not.
Everything seems to be either deactivated or destroyed, sir.
What about on a mental and emotional level?
Nothing. Which is slightly disconcerting.
Do you have any idea what could block you like that?
I imagine there are a few technologies that could prevent that, though the biggest obvious answer is simply distance.
Very good. How's the captain?
He's in sickbay, being his usual self.
Yeah, so he's trying to micromanage from sickbay, just taking a lot of command initiative, but Ged is basically forcing him to shut up, or he's getting a robot arm.
Yeah, and
So
every time
Graves is still sort of having that shoulder reconstruction, because it was a powerful disruptor that got him. And, the uniform did a little bit to cushion the blast, but yeah, so he's getting out of it, so he may be back in a little bit, but he's sort of he's still in sick bay.
Yeah, every time Graves tries to contact Waitley, he just puts him on hold.
Real quick, while everybody's walking along and all this is happening, Kara, amazed to find herself the level-headed one while still fuming at Ilium, simply walks beside Banks and says, "Sorry about this. Everyone's real angry at the moment, but apparently I'm the only one who knows where to focus it." Those sandwiches were really good, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, you pick up a little thing here or there. That particular recipe came from my grandmother, so yeah, I'll try to sort this out for you folks, and yeah, we can all get back to normal here.
Delicious sandwiches.
So Banks is just he's trying to make small talk on the way as well. How's the weather? Where are you staying? Where are you staying on Iffar? And you're proceeding along. So the information you get from the ship is ultimately, we're still searching. You're coordinating with the Iffar government. They're still trying to process the data from the transporters, but that's completely scrambled. So they're having to go run through a lot of decryption algorithms, and it's taking time. So you arrive at this, what was referred to as a shed. It's basically an industrial unit, kind of this modular thing that's been sort of built into this part of the sort of the city that's been spiraling down underneath sort of the main architecture, and it's sort of like an industrial, not quite subterranean, but it's pretty dark and sort of lit by a few parsimonious streetlights. And the shed is
probably the only one fitting in right now is Kara, who is wearing the tattered remains of a kimono and holding a phaser.
I have a phaser. I'm not holding it currently.
Kara doesn't have any place to put it.
Kendra has both hers.
And Banks sort of arrives at the shed, arrives at the designated shed. He's been sort of scanning the numbers, yeah, it's this one. And he's like, yeah, you wanted me to go in first?
Actually, yep. Kara steps up and bangs on the door and simply yells, "Hazra, open up!"
Get back, just in case this is a trap.
After a few minutes, you hear this what sound like just kind of pathetic small locks you would keep on an apartment, just sort of click, 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 and then the door opens yes, may I help you?
Is it Hazra? Where?
It's Hazra.
Oh, that boy. He'll be the death of us.
Oh no, I'm going to be the death of him. Now, where is he?
That's a pretty fine question there. I mean, would you like to come in? I mean, I've got tea. It's been a long day.
I don't want anything you have to drink.
Kara
There's
takes
lives
a deep...
at stake.
Kara
Some
takes
of them mean a lot to me. All of them do.
Kara takes a deep breath. If that's the way the game is to be played, I will have tea.
We're not having tea. We are going now.
Well, if you're going, that may not solve any of your problems.
You're coming with us and you're telling us where to go.
Or you can come in and I can show.
Marissa is going to follow Kendra's lead right here, grab Hasra by the shirt, right, and really give that grip and hold him, and she says, "Where will we find him?"
Is he here?
No, he's not here. I mean, look at this place.
Then why do we need to stay here? Short, simple answer.
Yeah. Short, simple answers aren't fun, but fine. I mean, I'm trying to get to something here. Anyway, short, simple answer. You need something to find where he is. That thing is in this place. I can give it to you if you would very kindly not destroy anything. This is a very, very special brew. I've been working on it for a very, very long time.
I push him into
Down,
the room
Larissa.
and follow him. Yeah, I push him into the room and follow him, and I'm like, get it.
So he's just like, you're walking into the room. Banks is just sort of like, he's still with you, just sort of like out of just more awkwardness of like, well, no one told me to leave. So Hazra is sort of walking along. He's sort of dressed in what looks kind of like just a Sunday bathrobe. Like, he's still got clothes underneath, but he's in a very casual, almost slightly adorable, but I mean, he is still Hazra, so there's still this alienness about him.
Also,
you walk past several, like...
Real quick, while this is happening, Carr leans over to Banks. If I was you, while everyone's paying attention to Hazra, I'd get the hell out of here. These people seem a little trigger happy.
Kendra has one pistol pointed at Banks and the other one at Hazra.
Banks says, I think I'm good just playing along for right now. Don't worry.
They're not up all the way. They're pointed at the floor, but they're like sort of pointed at their feet.
So you walk past a lot of this. It looks like very specialized brewing equipment, chemistry equipment, and some like that looks like a particle accelerator. But Hazra's attention isn't on any of this. He simply walks over and sort of like he starts fumbling around like what looks like an old wooden chest. And he's like, mumbling to himself like,
yes, it's in here. Yes, it's here. This will help you, I think. This will unlock the key to... screw the metaphor. This will allow you to find where Ilium Sokoveg is.
How?
This plan wasn't me. It wasn't my plan. The plan I told him failed. It was pretty obvious the first time she was here. But no, he wanted to continue this on, thinking the Bolg would have done something, but no.
Gee, who and what does this have to do with our missing crew?
Our missing crew. I don't think they have anything to do with this. Ilium is single-minded. There was a girl here, Sansa Jagora. She was part of an experiment, part of a nobleman who wanted to see about bringing back the old ways.
And she's here on planet Hazra, which means Ilium's got her.
Oh. Yeah, I suppose he would. So, anyway, Sansa Jagora, she was a clone. I helped create her because it's part of my repertoire. You don't make drinks like this without learning biomechanical experience. But the reason she was made, it was a complete joke. But it was an amusing one. So, yeah, that was discovered. She was exiled off-world because being a clone of an administrator as well, it gives a certain impression that the general public was not likely to take well to. So, here's your item. This will allow you to find Ilium.
And what he is holding in front of you is a glowing blue orb with lots of complex circuitry.
Rissa will take it from him and say, how does it work?
It's pretty intuitive. It's simply an access interface for effectively the shield around where he is. It's an old station from the old era. Another device similar to that is shielding location, keeping it hidden. It was something that they used to make sure that this last part of history remained untouched by eons and eons and eons and yeah. Just plug it in, and it should allow you to just pass straight through and identify anything that would be hidden otherwise.
Does this tell us where to plug it in?
Like an EPS, or a data transfer conduit. It's plug and play pretty much. I plugged the coffee machine into it once. It's adaptable, I tell you.
I take out my tricorder and plug it in and try to find out where our crew is.
So it immediately interfaces with your tricorder, and you just see like an alien script just flash over the tricorder for a second. And then it's just sort of like, it gives you sort of like an information network display. and it has its node and one other node in the system.
Where is that other node? Do we have
In
like a
orbit?
location?
Yes, you have a location and coordinates for that location. It is a stationary orbital object.
With a shield that is preventing us from transport from getting into it, we're going to need a shuttle
Or a starship.
or a starship. I mean, we can, we could all just, use our big starship.
Yeah, the big starship. The administrator is giving you full cooperation. So if you ask to beam back to Reliant saying we've got a lead, here's the location, she would probably say yes. They're not going to hold you up on bureaucracy here now.
I have a better idea. If they want to transport us, or if is it possible, based on what Hazra just told us, to transport onto that orbital object?
Not directly, because the physical object is what's going to be allowing you to sort of pass through the shield, without issue, because otherwise you probably need to blow it open. So it's it physically needs to be there. So if you're in a transporter beam, it's not going to register.
Okay. We really need to go back to the ship, Commander. Look over at Grimnir and Kara. And when I look at Kara, Larissa says, "Hey, look on the bright side. Maybe you'll get to use a starship to kill him."
Right.
So
Thank you, you two. Sorry for the brusqueness, but these are unusual times.
I look up at Oakley to make sure he comes down, or it comes down to be in the transporter beam. Him following Larissa in just made Larissa, like Oakley a little bit more. Immediately, acted like a Starfleet security officer, which he has had a little training in at this point. And he followed her in, and she was like, "God, nice." So,
like a little sheep. But so the question is to Oakley or to Grimnir. I mean, you're being asked to transport back to the ship. Do you take the sheep?
Is that even a question?
No, it's not. So
Kara
yeah,
actually
so
steps. Kara steps slightly away from the group, and, if at all possible, tries to get a second, if not much longer, but just a moment at least, to speak to Hazra when everybody leaves.
Not up to me.
Yes?
You're an interesting puzzle, Hazra. Still, I know that someone like you can do more than they appear. Thank you for your restraint. My companions are more on edge than even I would have anticipated.
It would not take someone like me to appreciate the state there. But it's at least one good excuse to get rid of that thing. I mean, yeah. Anyway.
Hazra,
I
I don't think I'll ever know exactly how much of your happy-go-lucky attitude is an act and how much of it is really you. She turns and goes back to the transport party.
So you beam out and back to the ship. Meanwhile, let's cut back to the people on the station. So we've got Bryce, we've got Rick, and we've got Eli. Rick has just gotten a shock from a force field, and an old woman has laughed at them. What do you do?
This sounds like Dark Souls.
Okay, so there's one door out of the room. What are the walls?
And another force field.
What are the walls?
Oh, the walls are just
next to the door look like?
They look like just standard bulkheads and nothing in particular, especially after you've sort of made your determination against the floor. The walls look, pretty soft and also old.
Rick, he puts a hand on like Rick's shoulder, and passes Quentin over to Rick, cracks his knuckles and smiles at the woman, and starts hitting the wall without a word. With his full force to try to just start punching through it. Just again and again and again and again.
Oh, it is deforming. I mean, the wall is just sort of it's buckling, it's just sort of like giving way. I mean, the whole section is just sort of like a flat, like it's sort of a modular panel, and it's just like collapsing. You feel like resistance. And then sort of that starts giving way. And then the section, that entire square sheet, is just gone because it just falls on to the other side. And the old woman just says,
I appreciate that. Others appreciate the finer crafts in the galaxy. And
with that, she walks off.
I look back,
and then you just have...
We're getting out of here.
So now you've got another room. It's another lab, but you can see that there's multiple exits out of it. And you can do a roll at this point for insight security.
14 again, then.
Have Rick roll
3 successes!
And you build... Oh, you're building momentum from that, too.
Eat.
So point of
was
momentum.
A 1 and an 11 for the...
and the complication.
Am I rolling too? Or?
Well, unless, I mean, the others seem to have a pretty good handle on it. I mean, you can roll, but, I mean, you could just open up more complications. I mean, you have 4 successes at this point. Okay. So, Bryce, because you got a crit on that, you basically see that there is no sign that this room has been modified. It's incredibly dusty. You can see even, like, just with that flash of just Android processing, that the ground looks complete, like there's no sign that anyone has walked through here in a long time. So it's unlikely to have any security, like additional security reinforcements, and everything just looks completely clear.
Is there a door?
Oh yeah, there's 2 doors coming out of that. So one straight ahead of you, one that sort of goes forward and to the right. So that might connect to the same hallway that woman was in.
That's what I was wondering.
Let's see, for Rick, because you got a complication, you were absolutely certain that the way that the old woman was is probably just going to be a trap. Like, there's going to be something there. You just get that feeling that you should probably run through the door that is straight in front. But Bryce does not have that feeling.
I have a feeling she's going to lead us into a trap.
I would agree. That's the hard part. Yeah, I would almost completely agree with that. So, yeah, I nod and start checking out the doors in order. The one in front of us, kind of check out what's on the other side before any thought of going through it, and then go to the left and check out what's on the other side of that door.
So the one that was directly in front of you looks like it leads into another lab. Exactly the same. And then sort of there's another door on the far side of that, but then sort of another repeat of doors along the walls that appear to lead into a corridor.
And back, and I say, this way keeps leading to labs, guys. Doctor, thoughts?
The man with the shoes.
I wish we had a medical tricorder in your equipment. And I try to. I don't have any skill in it, but I try to assess Quentin's condition now that we're out of the immediate danger of the cell we were in.
It looks like that he's in just a very, very deep sleep. His vitals are completely normal. It just looks like he's just taken to the side a little bit harder, maybe a little bit of exhaustion, interacting with that, but he looks okay. There isn't any sort of immediate medical concern. He's just still out.
Okay. I'm just worried, Bryce is like, we're all four of us are there. Like, it's going to make us, we got to all four of us get out, is what I'm worried
Okay, so which
about.
door do you take now?
I say, despite the fact that there may be some sort of trap, we follow the old woman rather than continue to stay in these ancient labs.
Okay, so when you get into the hallway, I
say that to I let them tell me what to do. Like I'm with Doc and Rick here, and I'm like, that's my suggestion.
I would like to explore a bit more, see if there are any other programs that could be done to disable some of the security systems, or discover more what is actually happening here. But I'm
looking at Eli too.
But I'm have to going to go with the doctor.
So do you want to? Okay. So you guys are just going to go into the hallway
now. What do you think, Eli? Do you think we'll find medical information in here? All right. Do it.
Okay, so you go into the hallway, you take a right, and sort of you pass by where that force field was, being really careful, like, okay, is there going to be any traps? You're looking for more emitters, but so far the hallway is clean. It sort of it looks kind of like, I mean, it's not quite opulent, but it looks like it was meant to be a higher status facility, but is certainly aware with just simple age and entropy. So the floors creak a little bit. I mean, there's a lot of dust everywhere as you sort of kick it up, and just sort of it takes up, and just the lighting systems are just like yellowed with a simple age. Everything's working. The temperature is okay, not like pleasant, comfortable, but it's certainly not something you have to worry about for any survival situation. As you sort of continue on in the hallway, you're sort of, the next room is sort of like, where it leads is just a bit like, not a, it looks like a kind of like a foyer. So maybe somewhere where people would meet, or it's like where the front desk would be. But it's sort of this larger room with if you look on this for the stream, you have that like spiraling double helix statue that is sort of in the center, just sort of like as a centerpiece, and just a few stairs, a few consoles, and a table. That table, Eli will note, has what looks like a cape on it.
My clothes!
As well as other things.
Ooh, what other things?
It would be, say, anything that... it would probably be everything that you had on your person.
Oh, very nice. I'm definitely getting my tricorder first.
Yeah, same here.
Tricorder first,
so you
sidearm
collect...
second. Badge third.
Okay, so you collect your gear, including... Eli, you're now fully equipped. Your coat is there, your cape is there, so now you are fully assembled. For everyone else, you have your tricorder, you have your comm badge, and weapon.
Hold on, I'm trying to remember something.
You had the shoulder missiles.
You're cutting out for me, I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry. Is it better?
Yes.
Okay. So just reminding you of what you had last time, shoulder missiles if you hit your shoulder. You gave it a good thwack, you fired a few from your, I think it was your left shoulder. Might have some on the right. And you also have your shoes.
And I probably kept my comm badge in one of my pockets, so...
Yeah, so you also have that as well. So would anyone like to make a scan?
Absolutely. Yes. I bet you that's the first
both
thing.
Of you make scans. Yes.
Scanning.
So this would be Insight Science or Insight Engineer.
Yeah.
Let me see which one I'm better at.
Well, could it be Reason? Question
Oh, yeah,
mark?
let's go with reason, too. Yeah, because you're either going to be perceiving something or just trying to make sense of the data coming in. So you're either going to just intuit it or brute force it with logic of like, okay, this is this, this is this, this is this. So I will allow you to do a reason engineering check.
I want to find out the building and the structure of the building. Right?
Okay.
I mean,
You're
I know
focusing.
it's not a building, but Rick thinks it's a building.
Ooh, I
Okay,
didn't get a complication.
There you go. One success.
I said Bryce would be scanning engineering, not science. So people know.
And
Science,
that
my
didn't
target
work
number war.
because
Oh, yeah,
I
wrong format.
rolled.
Also 2d16. 2d.
Yeah,
There you go.
don't. Okay.
So,
between us, we
for-
get 2 successes.
I mean, yeah, you get a success for each of your individual goals. So are you looking just for the overall like layout price?
Yes, I need to find
Okay.
something that indicates a transporter system.
Okay. So what you find here is let's see. So you're sort of you're sort of like getting a sense for the layout, and it's definitely not a building because it's kind of teardrop shaped on an or actually more sort of like a shattering or actually no. Here, let's go with this. It's lotus shaped for sort of the overall structure. So you've got this like network of corridors and sort of built up built up blocks that look like they could be more labs or storage space or habitation space. It's not that large of a station, but you're sort of noticing that it has a lot of vertical structure and these sort of like these radiating like petals, which
But it's possible to tell that it is a station.
it's a station. I'll also tell you, because you both got like 2 successes here. The petals could also be, say, they don't look like they're for power generation. They're certainly not habitable. They could just be for, say, refracting sensor scans.
Ooh.
So you're not able to sort of get a sense for what's outside the station, but you sort of start getting a sense of like, okay, here's the general layout. You don't find a transporter system, but you see that like a lot of this stuff leads to a central chamber. It's big. And then the rest just looks like more corridors and like facilities. You might see a main reactor, but it's very far, like on sort of the bottom end of the station. It would take a while to get back down there. If you're not sure of turbo lifts.
Do I see an exit from the inside at a hatch or something to that effect that would lead to the area near where the lotus flowers and petals are?
So nothing jumps out. It looks like it's a very solidly constructed station from the standpoint of the inhabitants. Maybe it looks like it was built to built to last. So you might, yeah, but you're not able to even see something like that. That it was designed to be like that was the way that the engineers designed maintenance to be done, like a physical like escape hatch. Maybe there's like on the far side you might see like an airlock type thing where a ship might dock, but that might take some time to sort of work out how to open that thing up.
I think I know. Like you can just Bryce would point to the big central chamber, looking at Rick, and he'd say, "Whatever we're looking for is going to be here. But if those are reflecting sensor scans, Reliant is going to have a hard time finding us." I look over at Eli. Thoughts?
I take out my comm badge and I'm going to tap it 3 times, activating the personal distress beacon.
Sweet.
Okay, you got a personal distress beacon going.
I mean, yeah, it's canon to stow.
It is. I I'm thinking, and I sweep the point up for Rick and Eli both to see. I'm thinking I can survive outside, and if I can get out that airlock, I can overload my phaser, and if you have any more breaching charges or something like, I can destroy those refractors.
I don't have any more of the charges. We used them to get out of the force field.
So the one thing I'll also note is that you would also have Quentin's phaser.
Good point. I have at least 2 things that I could. Yeah, we might need to do that. I might need to do that while you find out whatever is in the center of this place.
Okay.
Would the phaser be enough to cut? Or would it, even if it was overloaded, if it would explode, would it be enough?
To make sure that we get this done tonight, I will say it will probably be enough to destroy what seems like delicate, sophisticated, like sensor refractors. Like, these probably weren't designed to take a direct torpedo hit, because if they were, they failed their job.
I can probably figure out where to get the most explosive power.
Like, say, where they're attached by, say, like, or even just, like, blow a hole through it, because that might be enough to, say, allow the ship to scan inside the station.
Good point. Exactly. We just need, I may just need to damage them, but regardless, I'm the only one of us who can do it.
Well, we will continue. Rick's going to tap his comm badge, Rick Tier, to Bryce, and see if Bryce actually receives a connection.
He receives a connection.
I say, we've got everything we need.
All right. So Bryce is free to.
And that way you can just story tell that later, if you need to. That gives Eli and Rick. They're the ones to worry about there. And Rick has.
I will say that as sort of like to sort of move things along, the next obvious place would be the center. But as Rick and Eli pass, Rick, Eli carrying Quentin along with them as well. But so they pass towards the central area where it's leading into this larger chamber. It's sort of becoming more opulent, more theatrical or ceremonial. And along one of the arches is written stuff in Ibby script. Bryce takes a quick turn just to see that nothing's happened as they separate, and he can read it. And what it says is effectively, it's very almost like laconic, or it's even more, it's harder to make out. But what you get is the androids are God, and we made them.
Oh, Bryce is taken aback by that as he splits off from the other two and taps his comm badge and says, "Rick, Eli, not sure, but there might be androids in the center of this place. Just be careful."
So
I keep the channel open so I can listen as I head for the airlock, thinking how much this is gonna suck.
Literally. So Bryce proceeds to storytell a little bit. Bryce proceeds along, and he doesn't have any trouble eventually working through the systems to get that airlock open. He uses the phaser a little bit, uses his strength a little bit, but he eventually is able to get outside. It's going to be a little bit of a walk, but he thinks he can find a weak point that he'll be able to detonate. Meanwhile,
Yeah, that's his whole job now is I'm going to climb around on the outside of this until I can overload the weapons and hopefully blow this this refractor offline, so that when the Reliant is coming in, they have something to see.
So as the others are proceeding along, they sort of go through you go through a section with almost like an open canopy where you can see space, and you can see above you sort of the lotus petals, and maybe you get a glimpse of, maybe you see the Ibby homeworld through that, but you proceed along this open passage, kind of basically kind of like the corridors and discovery that lead from the sort of the ring to the inner saucer. So it's kind of that type.
Okay.
And then what you have in the middle there is kind of this spherical thing, but it has a flat floor going straight across. And you get that you're at that chamber. So does anyone want to react as they're getting in there? Check for it.
What do Eli and Rick see in the chamber? I'm seeing it from above, right?
Well, you're further back, but you kind of know the arrangement of the station. So what they see is kind of like a mountain of crates and what looks like just a spotlight, but they can't see anything else. And it's pretty it's kind of shabby for amount of crates goes. It's not like anything of grand import. It's just there's a bunch of crap in the middle of the room.
Is it sort of like a grid-based system with a grid? Is it all lumped together? Is it like a maze-like?
Oh no, it's just a big. Once you're in that central, at the void, you're walking through the corridor, and you get to the point where you're about to enter the big chamber. Inside the big chamber is completely dark, except for what you see in the center of the room. It's a big pile of crates and a couple of floodlights, but they don't provide that much illumination. So it's a mostly dark, empty, big, cavernous space. So it's basically, do you make a scanning roll at this point?
Yeah, I'm gonna talk to Eli and say, this is very suspicious, but we don't have much choice.
So you do your scan, and you just sort of you pick up a Ibby life sign in the middle of the room, and it reads Starfleet Officer Sets Jagor. You can't see her because she's probably behind the crates. But that's what you read.
There's no other?
I want to close my eyes and just using my empathic abilities, I wish to reach out and see if I could feel anyone or anything.
Ooh, I'm gonna have to make you a roll for that. Insight command. All right. Actually, would that be present? What about presence for empathic abilities?
I'd say insight.
Yeah, insight.
Okay, so that's a 14. Come on. Ah, fuck.
Nothing else. You don't feel anything else in the room. You feel Setsa, and she feels off. Anxious, terrified. I mean, scared and alone, but yeah, there's something a little off to that.
Well, this is most definitely a trap, Rick Tier. So, let's just buff up and puff our chests and just, see what we could do. See if we can trigger this trap prematurely.
Yeah, I want to do a scan for the APS or whatever power systems they have, and see if I can do anything with the lights.
Okay, so with you're not like what you've already scanned of the system. I mean, you've got like a little bit of power going through here, but the problem is like you the like just accessing the power wouldn't be enough. Like it's got power, but the light is off. So it's a control system issue, not like this place needs to be powered up.
Yeah.
So do you take Quentin with you into the room?
For now, I think I'm going to lay him down on the floor because I think that we're going into a trap with an unconscious person that is
Oh
bad
no,
news.
Setsa is conscious of this. Oh, but yeah, what you mean by Quentin? Sorry.
Yeah.
So yeah, you sort of set him down. Now, do you set him down in the corridor or inside the chamber?
I'm going to sit inside in the corridor.
Okay. So now you are free to proceed inside the
We've got Setsa's com badge.
Yep. You have it. So it basically, yeah, it would have been in the things there. She had a comm badge, and that was kind of it.
All right, so let's approach.
Yep, I'm all for approaching.
So, do you take the same side as you go around the boxes, or do you take opposite sides?
Let's take opposite sides.
Okay.
But
so as you go
that's
around,
a risk as well. But yeah, opposite sides.
I'm just
Okay.
smiling so big. This sounds so cool.
so as you go around, you see Setsa, and as she hears something, but she hears it from two sides and is just completely freaked out from it. But she sees it's you and just says,
Oh, thanks, son. I don't know where he is. I don't know where he is, but I'm tied here. I don't feel well. I don't know what's going on.
Don't worry, Setsu will be right there.
So, do you immediately approach her?
I'm just gonna cautiously approach, just in case.
Okay.
Yeah,
you see-
it's the cautious, ready to be a trap, ready to be sprung at you, like whenever expecting there to be like robots in the darkness kind of thing.
Okay. So, what you see is sort of like you've got a lot of these lights around you. And they're sort of these spotlights, but they're kind of pointed up in a weird angle, so you're just seeing like the occasional like spot of like superstructure above you or just crate. But what you see is Setsa in this chair, but it's sort of like it's built into the center of the room, and it has an open back, and then sort of it curves around and has this headrest. And what you see coming from the base of Setsa's neck and sort of going along a little bit along her spine are some very thick cables that lead into the darkness.
Can I roll to investigate those?
You can. Now, there's a couple of ways you can investigate. You can sort of like take a close look, or you could use one of the floodlights.
Use one of the what?
Oh, the spot. Like basically, there's flashlights, like big, like
Okay.
brick-sized flashlights.
I think I'm just going to get close and inspect it that way, since this looks like some kind of cybernetic augmentation, and that is sort of my specialty.
So I'm not going to, because it's your specialty, you're not going to have to roll for this. But basically, these are cables that are plugging into her nervous system. And at points that are very well done, but you can see that there's a little bit of residual blood. So these are newly implanted. But it looks expertly done. So it's sort of like there's not a concern about like immediate health. She looks healthy, scared, but these cables are just connected into her sort of like central nervous. That's your impression.
Would it be
and they
dangerous
lead backwards into the dark?
Would it be dangerous to disconnect her from them?
with what you know about the situation, you would not want to, because it's central nervous system at this point. So you don't know what would happen, but that's basically, it's not like a, well, maybe, maybe not. It's like, oh crap, this could be really bad.
Eli, after inspecting Sesta, slowly stands up. He looks pissed off.
So those cables are going backwards into the darkness, and you're not going to look at this.
No, I'm gonna follow those cables. Eli is angry.
Okay, so you follow those cables, and you sort of come to what looks like eventually a plinth, and they sort of like run up along it. And on that plinth is a large set of feet and legs.
Feet and legs.
You look up.
Yes.
It appears to be a about 9 to 10 foot tall, definitely like Ibby styled android.
An Ibby droid.
Ib droid.
Are these cables connected to it?
Yes.
Does it look...
There's also points where they're connected into the station as
well. Oh, no. Does it look hostile?
It looks completely inactive. You might even say it looks, it looks very ceremonial. It's not like it's a bulking heap of metal. It's very finely crafted, very gray-solid. A little worn, but it's a very sophisticated, but still mechanical looking in.
This is how they were trying to take possession, using an android to access Setz's thinking patterns.
And Setz at that point.
What about an android? I don't feel good. There's in my mind there feels like something is standing behind me. It's weird. I can't shake this feeling.
You're connected to an android by wires and cables.
And at that point, she just screams. And Rick, something lands next to you. It was a heavy thump, like 2 boots on the floor.
Do I need to roll?
Nope, because he just knocks you out.
Okay.
So, Eli, you hear the sound of a thump, a scream. What do you do?
I turn towards it.
You see Ilium Sokovic just standing there, puts a hand on Setz's shoulder, and says, "Welcome. The birth of a new dawn and the rediscovery of oneself. Would you like to lie down?"
Shoot him!
Wait, is he asking me that?
Yes, he is asking you, would you like to lie down?
Lie down. Lie down! I'm about to kick your ass! Step forward if you want to die! And
he moves. Okay, he moves, but he is moving crazy fast. So, like, you have that moment of reaction. Like, he is bolting for you, like, in, like, a really quick stride. So you get that flash, like, adrenaline reaction, which means I'm giving you a roll. fitness security to defend yourself. You've got your
Right,
shoes and you got your phaser.
I know exactly how I'm going to do this.
Remember,
Okay,
you're
you gotta roll.
pacifist.
What am I rolling?
Fitness security.
Oh, fitness security. Fitness, I know I'm going to be good, but security, I'm going to be buggered there.
You only got 2 momentum.
And wait, fitness. Yeah, okay, there we go. Ah, fuck. Wait, you said I got momentum. Can I please
You got
re-roll
momentum.
that?
Yes, you can re-roll that for the cost of, I'll just say 1 momentum.
Okay, so 2d20
Note
again.
2.
D20.
You got
1 or just 2?
Yeah, just one d20.
Ah!
Success. So, would you like to explain how you attempted to defend yourself?
As he charges me, I want to kick the part of my shoe that activated the blade and just hold it up as he runs, just like let him run into it. It's not my fault, you know.
So,
I'm not doing.
Yeah, so you do that, and then he sort of realizes that you've got this shoe weapon, and it's an obstacle. So he, dodges, but he's moving so fast, he's got a lot of inertia going. He sort of scoots by you. He gets, grazed in the arm by it. But, yeah, it is... He goes past you. And is just he is in the darkness somewhere behind, kind of over to your back and to your left. But you have withstood this first attack. And to storytell a little bit, at this point, Bryce has reached a critical weakness in the
Oh, that's
in
perfect.
the shielding. And you prime your phaser for detonation. You actually prime 2. You put 1 on one side of this clamp, 1 on one side of the other clamp. Take a good step back.
Magnetic.
And you just watch. And then it goes boom. Reliant picks this up. And they're proceeding to this location. They've got everything primed.
Station. Is everybody on Reliant back at their stations now?
Yes. Yeah, everyone is back on their station. They're going. Graves is in, he's got a shoulder sling, but he's in the command chair. Kendra's with him, Whately's with him, and they have detected an explosion where they are going. But it's not like it's a big explosion. It's like, oh, we can see that thing now. And it's like they're getting a good sensor scan of what is in that facility.
Larissa sends the sensor scans right over to the science station and down to the command consoles.
Is Whately still near us?
Yeah, he's up there on the bridge, right?
And with the explosion, Whately will be able to pick up the away team.
That was my question.
And just sort of, yes. So he has the knowledge, and you're also picking up Eli's distress signal. And you get a sort of a return ping from Quentin's comm badge. It's just sort of this automated, okay, status received. There we go. So, Whately!
Yes.
Would you like to relay the information that the crew is okay, except for, 2 of them seem unconscious, and 1 seems really freaked out.
All right, so yeah, as soon as Whately detects this, he stiffens in his chair and he looks at the captain and he says, "Graves, I have them."
All right, let's pull them out. And with that, though,
he punches into his little terminal in his chair with the exact coordinates that he is reading them at. Showing it to the operations officer.
Kendra non-verbally, but mentally asks Whately, "Quentin?"
He doesn't say anything or think anything. He just looks at her and he nods.
Nice.
And Kendra visibly relaxes, but nobody else knows why she just like sighed and like released a little bit of tension.
Me, Larissa, and Kara probably both know. We were down on the planet with you.
So, at this point, you get that you get the sensor scan, but something reacts to that, like that probe. And at this point, Setsa, in that, is sort of like she's trying to turn around, but has the cables. And Eli, seeing this in front of her, or just notices that she's just gone stiff. Like something has changed. And she says just softly to herself,
"There's the world I knew and the world that came before. I thought I'd never know myself, and the way I really felt. And to everyone, Graves, I'm sorry."
and the entire station lights up with a blue light, and every control system on Reliant every display system goes blue. As across the system, every single computer system has just been overtaken. So some roles need to be had about whether or not you can overcome this, including Bryce on the outside of the station. You need to resist. You need to resist the pull of the machine god.
Kara, meanwhile, is literally just
that the controlling grip.
Kara is just trying to work her console, simply going no, 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 no.
So, like, I don't know the roles for this. For this, it's like it's to resist the ship getting taken over by a computer intelligence. The ship has sophisticated computer systems, and it's Starfleet, so maybe probably aren't faring too well. But Reliant might be able to resist this.
But what would Bryce's role be based on? What do you guys think, Baz, Duncan?
Could be control,
engineering or command. Control command.
Control command. I'll take control command all day long. I'll take control command all day long.
And then, like, you can also do like a series of like for the ship. 2 successes. You feel like this overwhelming like just hammer like hit you, but it doesn't land. It's just like you get this impact, but it doesn't like find any purchase. So you get this hit. It's a really weird hit, like hitting you from like a sense that you didn't think you had before.
Okay, it's like something just hit my sixth sense, but I didn't know I had.
Yeah, it hit it hard, but you were able to sort of come out of it. So now I would say Oakley, back on the ship. Kara, and then Rick's engineering team would need to roll control engineering.
Remember, Rick's engineering team, is it an automatic success or a free reroll or something?
It's an automatic.
I think it's
automatic success.
You get one automatic success.
I should also point out that because Kara has augmented control, she'll get an automatic success on it as well.
And so, I'm going to be spending no threat.
So what would be the role for the stats for my team?
Oh, the stats? Oh. I'd say they're a good engineering team, so 14.
14,
like they're junior officers.
Yeah.
Okay, for the record, Kara just got 3 successes because of her augmented control.
Can we do we have a momentum left?
Yep, we have 1 momentum.
2.
We have
Mm,
two?
man.
I thought we had one.
One, because Eli burned one.
Right.
Not getting the
avoid
complication.
That was very good timing.
I think this is a point to spend momentum if possible.
Yeah,
For
this
them.
is like the climax.
Can I help in some way?
Oh yeah. You can assist as well. There's a complication.
Because I have the strong paw thing that reduces the difficulty of a task by 1. Can I use that?
Sure. So let's say, I was thinking you would need like 3 successes across you. So you've already you've succeeded. So Reliant is, here we go. Reliant has that same reaction where it's sort of like it shudders, like it has that like lurch, like something just completely messed with the systems, but you're back on track. You're able to sort of clean the systems, close down subspace communications, and just resist this impulse. The only problem, though, is that you realize that your transporter systems at this point would be able to beam you to the station, but you can't beam people back yet.
Kara looks over her shoulder at
for Kendra. Basically, the roll was, you guys already succeeded, so the roll would only introduce the chance of getting another complication.
Okay, never mind that.
So you could have, but it may have not turned out well.
Kara looks back over her shoulder at the captain. Send me down there, please.
Graves just nods. Waitley, you've got the ship. Kendra, you want to see this through?
Can you repeat that? I'm sorry, I missed it.
Okay, so Graves just sort of like, Waitley, you've got the ship. Kendra, you want to come down with us, see this through?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and they proceed to the transporter. And back on the station, like the lights have just shot completely bolt like on with Sets's reaction. She's screamed again and is sort of like almost like just in discomfort and pain. And behind you, the android, it doesn't move, but the eyes are now glowing blue. And there's this blue glow through the circuits that are coming in through the station, along with that as well. You see, Eli is able to see that Ilium is sort of recovered. His arm has been hit by the blade, but sort of the damage underneath, like, it looks cybernetic. So, and he's got combat armor on as well. So it looks like it's a bad hit, but it's not like it's going to incapacitate him much. And he says, at this point,
very, very good, but it changes nothing at this point. I am not like you. I serve a higher purpose, and that purpose is right behind you, and it took control of everything.
You know what
Setsa is reborn.
You know what you sound like? A coward! You're so desperate to make yourself a legend. Write it in your own blood, not others!
Bryce is running back inside as fast as he can across the hull of this thing. Just saying the one thing he's doing. That's it. It's all he can do. Yes, and applause. That was awesome.
So would you like to take an action? Or would you just sort of like ready yourself?
I want to face him, and I want to tap my other shoulder for more missiles.
Okay, so you tap them to fire or to ready them?
Let's fire them!
Okay, so at this point,
I do feel like I have to do the Spaceballs joke of, why are you always getting ready? Just go!
Let's see. Let's go with, for this one, control security. So 11, 12 is your target.
12 is my target, okay.
And I'll spend 2 threat. So your complication range is 18.
Okay, I hope I'm doing this right. Oh shit!
Oh,
Nice.
like the missiles, like they have, well, similar to a certain other property, they sort of like they arc out and then sort of like go directly towards the target you're aiming at. And they sort of like go for the center of mass. So he takes several of those missiles and they just sort of explode on contact in these bright sparks. And he is taken aback and doesn't like it sort of like knocks him back on his butt. But he's getting up pretty rapidly. Rick, you are getting up as well at this point because you were just sort of like hit pretty hard, but not like knocked out for like hours. You were just the anticipation wasn't that it would take this long to finish off Eli or to incapacitate.
All right. All right. Well, my first job is I want to try and disconnect the android from the actual rest of the system.
Okay. So you do that while a security team is beaming onto the station. So they're not like getting like directly in the chamber because that's basically line of fire. So the team of Graves, Kendra, and then let's just say 2 or 3 security officers. Actually, 2 security officers and Dr. 3.
And Kara.
Oh, and Kara,
And
yeah,
Kara.
Kara too. So they beam and they're sort of like in the corridor and they're able to just like, just like proceed ahead. While Rick, you sort of take that opportunity to rush over to the, hobble over to the android. And you can, like, some of the cables are within reach. You can try to disconnect them. And they just look like data cables. It's not like there's power coming. So do you want to try, how are you going to try to disconnect this? They're pretty high up. You can reach a few.
Just phaser through all of them.
Okay.
We do carry laser guns, right, Baz?
You do that, and sort of like, and as you do that, you realize kind of like some of these were sort of like supporting the android. Sort of buckles forward and starts to like move forward, like not like kind of fall forward a little bit. There's a few cables like in supports holding it, but it sort of like lurches. And Setsa kind of screams out at this point as well, kind of more of a sort of a pain scream, just being completely overwhelmed by this experience. William sees this, shouts in range, pulls the disruptor out of his jacket, and takes aim at Rick.
Oh, that bastard. And Bryce come running down the hallways.
I was about to say, where's Kara at this point?
So they're just
are we
entering
in the
the
room
room,
yet?
but I will. Well, yeah, you're just sort of just entering. You see this like android. You see Setsa in the chair. You see Ilium pointing a disruptor. But I will give Bryce, because he was just like there, and he's moving fast because he's moving with just full android speed. So he's come through another corridor. So I will give you the opportunity to be in the physical position to try to stop Ilium from taking a shot at Rick. Now, you probably can't physically get there.
I want to tackle him and hold him down. I don't have a phaser on me anymore.
You do have your tricorder.
True.
Chuck it.
I'm not gonna throw
Because it would be a lot faster, to chuck the tricorder at him. And to storytell, you hit the disruptor out of his hand. It's a direct hit.
Cool.
Disruptor is on the ground, and you tackle. He is strong, and you realize that, I mean, he's cybernetic, but if it wasn't for getting shot, his capabilities would be a match for us, but he's in that vulnerable position. So now everyone else is entering the room. There is.
I should note to the people just arriving, Quentin is safely laid up against the wall right outside the room. though.
Yeah, so they will have
That's where
passed
he is.
Quentin first. So they will have seen that. 3 will have checked him out, and Kendra can respond to the sight of a very sleepy Quentin.
Kendra looks to 3. Is he okay?
I'm sure she'll. She says, bumps and bruises, and injects him with something to wake him up, so he can be like, "Huh? Where am I? What's going on?"
So we give him, we'll give Quentin that moment where he wakes up in just like the pandemonium, and everyone's there, and he's just where am I?
Meanwhile, Kara, when she enters the room, has a choice to make, and she looks between Setsa and Ilium, and the choice becomes between, love and rage. And very quickly, it is not the rage that wins out. She screams Setsa's name and runs towards the Ibby.
Oh, thank goodness. That means Bryce can do what he wanted to do. Bryce wants to stop this guy from moving or, transporting out. He, wants to grab him with android strength and be like, you're not going anywhere.
Wait.
Oh, yeah. You have pinned him down. So that's why I was saying, if it wasn't for him already being shot and his arm being cut pretty badly,
and
it would have been a fight, but now you have subdued him. So he can't go anywhere, and if he tried to transport out, you're coming along with him. So he's not able to do that. So another security officer is able to sort of come by, unless Kendra wants to do something.
No, it's okay. If he's got him incapacitated, we're good.
Yeah. So another security officer kind of does that check just for security devices, just sort of runs a tricorder over Ilium and shorts some stuff out just so he can't go anywhere. So you've got him covered. So that leaves Setsa.
Bryce.
Still connected.
Bryce. You would grab cuffs or whatever we have from the security officer that comes over to scan and lock this guy up, hand him up.
So as everyone's sort of gathering around and Setsa is just looking around, panicked, scared, the old woman is sitting on top of the pile of bricks. And just in a very casual, she has tea. And is just sort of looking around. So does anyone want to react to the old woman? Anyone, or is...
So Kendra... Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, is Kara getting any reaction out of Setsa from going over and calling her name and trying to see if she's awake?
Not yet, no. Well, she's awake, but she's lost within herself. Because she is connected to every computer system on the planet.
3, get over here!
What condition?
Anning the old woman.
What condition is Quentin? Quentin's going to be fine. She says, 3, get over here. 3 is doing that light doctor's job to get into the room, and seeing Eli's rage, she goes, Dr. O'Connor, and she tosses him a medical kit to bring his mind back to what he does. She calls him Dr. O'Connor and throws him a medical kit that she brought to give him, and moves to the chair where Setsa is.
So the
Kendra scanning the old woman.
You scan the old woman and do not get anything. There's a life form there, but you don't get a good reading. No, you can't make a roll to find out more. But the old woman just sort of chuckles to herself and just says,
Ah, poor boy. So wrapped up, so preoccupied. Glory heroics, that stuff. But we do have a problem here.
Kara's head snaps up on a spring at the old woman. And if that problem has anything to do with Setsa, you had better start talking right now.
Setsa... I would say poor girl, but she isn't. Flesh, organics, grown around a core, taken from one of the old gods, the androids who used to rule over the civilization. If you would call it similar to the administration. It's optimization. Care, tenderness, but any system breaks down with time. This one was laid to rest, and some romanticists tried to bring it about. Those like us, it humored us. We helped. Now, we see something with a little bit more tragedy to it. Mind reconnect.
Oh, sorry. Did anyone? Okay.
I don't think
Okay,
we
I'll just
caught
go
most
through
of
normal
that.
voice at this point with that one. Okay, so anyway, the old woman says, that Setsa, this poor girl, or not really girl, flesh grown around a core, something of a mind organic, something of a mind that is machine, trying to resurrect one of the old gods in a form that would be more appealing to a current civilization. It was vogue, vanity, and whatever else you call it. But it poses a problem still, stupid as it was. Those like us, we found it amusing, and perhaps we were wrong to take such joy in it.
How can we help her?
Ice checks to see if we can transport out of here yet.
Not yet. Because, I mean, you disconnected the big blue machine, but you haven't really done anything about it.
Mhm.
So we'll come to that in just a moment. But there's a question of Setsa. So Marcus is in the room. He's got the shoulder bandage and just... He sort of takes that, like, he kneels before Setsa. Just kind of, with a little bit of a sardonic look, just says, hey, listen. And she kind of briefly focuses on him, just still in that panic, in that mode. It's like, you're still here. I'm here. And she said,
I remember everything. Everything. The old, the new, the boring. I'm not me.
Here's a question. Wait, am I muted? No. Here's a question. Can Dr. 3 figure out how to safely remove whatever of the connections remain after Rick phasered them? Is there anything still holding that android?
So you still got those other connections, but someone like Dr. 3 would be able to make short work of being able to sort of safely disconnect those and just making sure that there isn't like feedback. So being able like, okay,
that's what I
plug
wondered.
this one off.
Like, with her background,
she can.
Yeah.
She can begin doing that. Yes, so she's doing that. So as that's happening, there's sort of less of this feedback, and then Eli's going to be helping too. But
nice, right on.
Setsa still has this problem where she is awakened. Because as the old woman described, it's an organic shell around around a positronic core. So something taken from the sort of the nucleus of that android, that brain, that sort of that consciousness it had.
Mm-hmm. Bryce,
with a clone shell built around it.
Bryce looks over at Rick and says, is there any way we can speed up getting the hell out of here?
Well, we need to make sure this system is fully disabled.
So, to investigate that,
I'm going to try to assist Rick if he's willing.
Okay. So, what you would find, and just a story tell, what you would find is sort of that plinth with cables in it. On the back side of it is another glowing blue device with lots of really complex and intricate circuitry on sort of like a little white plinth. It's a glowing, floating blue ball.
Disconnect that motherfucker. Sorry.
But as you disconnect it, you disconnect it. So you try to disconnect it, but it's sort of like it has that reaction, and it just immediately just snaps black, and the ball just falls on the. So at this point, you get communications back, and
Nice.
there's this inert device that has decided to terminate itself,
So
and the influence of the station is probably gone, but you still have the problem of what's happening with Setsa.
Is
So-
the system-
Bryce is thinking we can deal with that on our own ship. I mean,
Mhm.
bring the damned android with us if we have to. We can put it behind a level 10 force field for the doctor to get to work and do his doctoring. Bryce wants out of here.
Yeah. So you're
Is-
able to disconnect the cables. All right, Kendra.
Kendra?
the android? Essentially, she is the system, isn't she?
Oh no.
She has been connected. Well, the thing is that it's like it's a one-way data stream.
Well, she's one of the ancient ones, though, right? So she is the system, right? Or am I misunderstanding?
Well, you've already the first thing Rick did was that he basically cut the android from the cables that are holding the back end of it. So that disconnected the android. So basically, that ultimately severed the link between Setsa and the net. So basically, the device that has not been named yet, but may be familiar for people with experience in STO, that was still holding the system. But now that is disconnected. So what remains is basically you're chewing through those connections that are connecting Setsa to the android body. But what 3 is finding is that those are one-way flow terminals. It's not like it was expected to sort of go both ways. It was feeding direction. Like the cables that are responsible for the android that are still sort of active, because you got the ones that are inert but were going to the device, those were just for information flow one way from the android to Setsa. So she's not physiologically linked to the android. It just did an information dump.
Okay. So she'll be okay, doctors? Bryce would look over and be like, so she's going to be okay, doctors, if we take her out of here?
And at this point,
he's not really looking away from the old woman.
At this point, Setsa screams,
I'm not going to be okay. I'm in my body isn't my body. There's the academy. All the stuff. I'm confused. And
Kara walks over to Setsa and kind of leans over, looking directly down at Setsa's face, and simply puts a hand on Setsa's cheek. Do you feel this?
Yeah, I do.
That's
Kara.
because
I'm scared that we won't.
That's because it's your body. But allow me to be very clear. It's not safe here. We need to go.
Bryce looks back and makes sure that Quentin and Oakley, Bryce is like, Oakley, come on, Quentin, because Quentin's just waking up and wants to get everybody close together because can we transport back now? Is that
yes? You can
we do that yet?
You can transport. You can transport back because you've disconnected the maybe an Iconian device. And the android is there. You've disconnected all the conduits. Setsa's freaked out, but you are free to go. The old woman has also disappeared, but you have Ilium in custody.
Security Chief Bryce to Reliant, bring us home.
Kara basically helps Setsa up and stands with her while they all get transported.
So back, I'll just sort of go through a little bit here. So you're being back on the ship, and of course you make a status report to the IBI High Command. they are freaked out because they just got overtaken by that sweep of the engine. But now their systems are coming back online. They're like, okay, what needs to happen? Like, okay, and you tell them everything is under control. We have the culprit in custody. We found this weird science project, and we're sort of dealing with the aftermath. So now you are in sick bay. 3 and so 3 and Eli are there. Waitley is there. Kara is there. Quentin is there. And
Bryce
is there. So yeah, basically anyone who... Yeah. I mean, you did probably punch through a wall, so maybe you need to be taken care of a little bit there.
I do sometimes wonder what the skin on those androids is made of, and I bet it's probably not quite as resilient as everything underneath.
I'm thinking that sick bay, Bryce is peeling, breaking off pieces of his skin that have just frozen from being exposed to the vacuum of space. And he's like, I'm gonna need a skin job.
So yeah, so you're all getting this attention, and what
Kara would have to be physically separated from Setsa at this point.
So I want to have a conversation with Setsa. We can get to... Kendra can be there as well, because I know you've got questions, and this might be a good time to ask them and interject. So Graves, Kara, and Setsa, let's go with that scene right now. Iffar is not a member of the Federation.
And Kendra.
That was the question. Yeah, so Setsa will start by just
saying, I'm sorry, I couldn't stop, I'm me, I'm not me, I don't know, I don't know where I am.
And Marcus will just take the lead. It's like, you're here? I'm here? Setsa, listen. We've been here before. And we got through it. It was fine. Just focus. Focus.
And I'm here with you, Setsa.
And she sort of snaps
I'm not leaving either.
And Setsa says, I remember being told me. It was like an administrator, but not. It just, this Setsa, this entity, it looked over ecologies, it looked over farms, and it grew a time where it just decided that was enough, and ended life. And I woke up in a new body, young, and I had a life. And I found out what I was then, and then I went to Starfleet, and then I was assimilated, and she sort of
rambles on a little bit and just says,
Kara, I'm sorry, I want to stay your roommate, I want to be here, I don't want to leave, I don't want to disappoint you, but I don't want to be someone else. And
at this point, Marcus laughs. And just sort of has this the weight of the universe just sort of dropped for a second and just says, Setsa, just stop for a second. You were plugged into this machine, and they tried to revive it, thinking that it would bring this order to Iffar, using this technology to just be that ultimate driving force to rule that civilization through computer tech, and who knows what else besides beyond that. And right now, you're most worried about, just staying you. So here's what you need to think about right now. The you that you've discovered Is it any different from the you that you were then? They thought that they failed because they didn't recreate their god, but you know what? I just think they misinterpreted who it was to begin with. You're you. And you're the person you've always been. You don't need to worry about being changed just because you remember. And she kind of just has the stop of like the adrenaline coming down and like just having this like just feeling yourself out for the first time and just kind of just goes,
Oh, maybe. And just with
a little bit of a smile. Anyone else can act in this or deal with something else. Is anybody there?
I'm not.
Sorry, I got distracted by other things.
Yeah, I'm seeing you're going through the idea of what's going to happen with William. We'll deal with him in a second because Administrator Jigoro is going to be coming on the ship.
Kara mostly is just kind of trying to remain a calming presence for Setsa. As I mentioned before, if it were necessary, she probably would have to be physically separated from Setsa, but there's not really a whole lot she can think of to say at this moment.
And Kendra is just kind of waiting and watching and observing.
Yeah. So everything seems like it's settling down. That there's been this realization. Graves is looking better. Setsa's looking a little bit better. It's still shaken, but like a little bit of like, hey, you're kind of getting a little bit of that viewpoint. So that leaves, unless anyone wants to interject here, what's going on with Ilya, who has been treated in sickbay, or say treated in sort of the medical or the rig. Held there fine. Is just sort of like in sort of a meditative like position. So what you have there is just sort of a prisoner who is not trying to violently escape.
Well, Kara does have one thing to say quietly to him if he's there. Assuming that Setsa is relatively
he would not
calm.
be. So Setsa's relatively calm, but you would need to go down to the brig to.
Well, she'll take the opportunity real quick to give Kara, or give Setsa a little squeeze on the hand and head down to give her final little piece to Ilium.
The security officers just sort of nod, and yeah, you're allowed to sort of step in front of the sort of the force field. He is kind of on his knees in a meditative position.
The old ways are dead. The old ways are gone. And you should know, being a student of history, those who break faith with the unity shall go down into darkness. Without waiting for a response, she turns and leaves.
You know how freaking perfect that was? The Final Fantasy victory music was playing as you ended that. And it came through the mic.
Sorry, my husband is playing Final Fantasy 14. I didn't realize that was going to be picked up.
Hold on. No. It was super amazing! You had that moment, and then do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do.
That was fun.
Oh! Yes. Okay.
Well, there went the drama.
That was awesome.
So yes. So to storytell, because it's 11:30 here. What you have, yeah. So what you have with the meeting with Administrator Jigoro is that this is sort of something that they didn't think was physically possible, and it's probably to do with that alien tech that you found. They would like to take a look at that. In exchange, you get dibs on alien. Because he did mess with the entire planetary system. Their concern being, who they are, is a little bit more pragmatic. They want to figure out how their systems are compromised. And they've only got one example like that.
My vote, just so everybody knows, I'm just playing the NPCs for this game, right? My vote would be let them have the burned out one.
Both of them have burned out now.
They don't know. Oh, then and I think we let them have one and we keep one. We have two of them and they don't know that we have one of them.
Indeed.
We give them the one that they know we have and we keep the other one.
And it's not like they can do anything more with the second one that they can't do on the first.
Exactly.
So, real quick question: where exactly is Ilium? I'm guessing he's in sick bay in like a
I said he was treated in the brig.
Okay,
yeah, he's in the brig behind a level 10 force field that extends in a box around him.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
at some point, Waitley is gonna silently slip away and make a little visit to the brig.
Okay. We can do that as like an after show scene.
Mm-hmm.
That was really fun, Duncan. That was a very good story. I like it. I like the whole thing.
Yeah, so and then sort of like there's kind of a point where sort of leave off with a moment of just like Administrator Jigoro just kind of walks by sickbay and just sort of like looks in on Setsa and just sort of gives her a nod, and Setsa just kind of coming down just kind of nods in return, and then that's their entire exchange. Because Setsa Jigoro was created as Vela Jigoro's clone. And the original plot was to do this entire thing, but it didn't work because they couldn't, like, quote, revive the machine god, because it was already her personality. The machine god was basically the same personality, so they just didn't recognize it, like, nothing changed, nothing happened. And then Ilium tried to throw that into the entire computer system to make a literal machine god run the same gamut using the board.
Bryce has no patience for squiggly robot arms that come out of portals in the sky. I'm sure that's why he made the roll when he had to.
Yeah. So that whole business was basically Setsa was captured by the board. Maybe it would work with this because it gives her that sort of that bandwidth capacity, those implants. And then the whole thing about her being invited back to the planet was the Ikven, or this sect of the Ikven, sort of leveraging their political connections, like, okay, get Setsa back on the planet, get her back on the planet. Well, and then the whole thing with the, and the whole idea here is basically, it's like the Ibi were looking to align themselves, and that would have basically put them under, quote, this sort of subjugation reboot, or just made them subservient, or a secondary partner to someone else, whoever that would be. And this plan was to basically put the Ibi, give them the power to basically be a galactic power. Because they could just take control of other people's tech. So that was the entire grand scheme there. So that, I couldn't quite go into that because we didn't really have that much of a, like, monologue time with Ilian, because I wanted to make this, we had such great stuff with you guys going that, didn't need to put that in there. So
seriously, Nick, thank you for inspiring me to freezer burn basically Bryce's skin off so that he could blow up those things. That was one of the funnest things I've ever done in a role-playing game. Awesomeness. That was really fun. Thank you. I'm probably going to pop out. It's getting a little late for me, and I have to do my daily. So
is it time to roll the credits?
Roll the credits, and then we can do like after show scenes for those who are still wanting to have that. So I think that would be a great way to handle it. So the official end of the episode, and then we can do after credits.
All right. So.
And a little bit of time, not a lot, will pass between when when this game is ended and next game begins, and we should feel free to do a little bit of a bottle episode in the week between the game, and see if anybody wants to role play something that happens in the intervening.
Oh, I'm totally down for that. Like if we want to do that like next week,
I'm willing to hang out next week and whatever, and we can record stuff that we do. So anyway, good night everybody on Nord Stream. Thanks for a really fun game tonight, fellas, and Kendra, because you're like our one female in our group here, Kendra. It's awesome. We have a totally predictable gaming group. We have a totally predictable gaming group. So anyway, good night, guys. Peace.
Good night. Yeah,
Anyway,
I'm totally down
Kara's-
for doing something next week.
Kara's probably going to be trying to wrap her head around the fact that nobody, including herself, acted at all in the way that she was anticipating when this whole event started.
Is my mic working?
It is.
Yeah, your mic's working.
Okay, because when you have a
Well, now
second,
it
I have
is.
an out of character question, but I'll let you guys do your scenes first. Because it's out of character.
Well, we're still running through the credit sequence right now on the stream. So if you want to do an out of character question, now would actually be a good time for it.